It's been a while since I've been here sitting down and talking to you about the current real estate market in Toronto. If you have been following this channel recently, you might have seen many property tours and I hope you have been enjoying them. However, let me share some insights and thoughts about the activities in today's market. And hopefully this could help you out if you have been sitting on the sidelines ever since the interest rate hike started. I've always tried not to put my opinion on the real estate market since you might think that I'm biased for being a real estate agent, and that is the reason I always try to provide the actual data and facts that have already happened so that you could observe on your own and form your own opinion. Here I would like to share a quick summary of the market followed by what kind of activities and results we can expect in the resale market, pre-construction market, and rental market, and then probably leave you with some thoughts on where the current market is heading. By looking at the latest Toronto Real Estate Board for March, we could see that year over year in terms of sales activity, it is down 36.5% from 10,862 transactions to 6,896. However, it did improve from month to month, but don't forget that in general, due to seasonality, the sales are usually strong during the spring market. If you want me to give you a short summary, the sales are slightly improving and the prices are stabilizing, although some have gone slightly higher since the rate pause was announced for the second time since March and now April. I guess the biggest takeaway is that the new listing is the talk of the town. There are a record low number of new listings in almost all regions. To my knowledge, new listings are down across the board and include Markham, Richmond Hill, Vaughan, Toronto, Milton, Brampton, Mississauga, Oakville, and so on. Since we only have the March data at the moment, a year ago in March we were at 20,061, and in March last month we were sitting at 11,184, which was down 44.3%. That is not a good sign, and I would argue is the reason why the home prices are trending up, because they simply don't have much to choose from. And also the active listings are down just slightly at 0.4%, which is not helping the situation at all. In terms of average prices, if we compare year over year at the same time in March, we are down 14.6%. But if we compare average prices from January, which were 1,038,668, then February was the first time average prices increased to 1,095,617. And in March, we again had a slight increase to 1,108,606. Most shocking, since the rate pause, we also saw much quicker turnaround time to sell property. That is significantly down, and I can't help but think it is due to a lack of inventory again. I can't speak for all, but for my own clients and observations, although the market is telling us there is a balanced market, it doesn't seem like it from what I'm seeing, especially at entry-level prices. A one-bedroom or one-bedroom plus 10 unit was being snapped up the minute it became available. It seems the buyer is coming out again. It seems that the buyer cannot stay any longer on the sideline, and they are anxious to go back to the market knowing that the rates are not increasing anymore. One thing I can't help but notice is that although my clients are interested, when I call the listing agent to ask about the property, I frequently run into sellers who are difficult and unwilling to discuss the price because they are not particularly motivated, given that they can always find tenants who pay a high rent in today's hot rental market. You would think that if a particular unit has been sitting on the market for over 30 days, you could assume the seller would be somewhat easier to talk down in price, but more often than not, they are just turning back to lease the property at a higher rent and wait until they get what they wanted. When it comes to determining the real estate market, there are always two sides. One group is always bullish and optimistic about the future, and of course, there is the bear market group where they always anticipate the crash and that it could still go down further. While both sides have the reasoning, what I've learned during the course of the interest rate and the inflation debate is that there is no right answer. You could always find a narrative to support your own reasoning. The best way is to read the actual number and determine whether that is a risk you want to take. Like I've said many times in my past video, nobody could predict COVID, the printing of money, war, inflation, and so on. The fact is, we could only agree on the current number that I just shared, which is what is happening currently. And clearly, the biggest factor causing the market to go down is due to an interest rate hike to soften the demand. And without a doubt, since the rate pause for the past few months, we have seen a slight recovery of the market and also remain mostly flat. During the downturn of the real estate market, I've also mentioned that there are still people who need to purchase due to reason of moving, or in some cases, people are involved in a divorce or even downsizing where they no longer need a place, etc. These are all end users, but few investors were involved because of the uncertainty of the market. And we know that our real estate market is mostly driven by investors. Noticeably, when I introduced the newly launched project Union City in Unionville, Markham, this was an early sign of the return of the investor to the real estate market. If you haven't watched my video on this unique opportunity in this great value project, feel free to click on the video above. Frankly, we know that the number of pre-construction is not selling well since the interest rate hike because of the risk of buying at a higher price, but I learned that this project received over thousands of worksheets submitted by buyers and only had 440 units in a successful launch in early April. What this tells us is that the investors are back in the market after sitting for a long period of time. This is the first sign I witnessed so far in the market, confirming that there are plenty of investors that are starting to be active again. Aside from this project that I recently attended, I was also very active in the rental market during this downturn in the real estate market. If you watch my past video, I also mentioned that I was working with many renters, and 60 to 70% of them were new immigrants coming to Toronto with working permits. As you may all know, we do have a foreign ban policy that was introduced early in the year to control the amount of investors from purchasing and driving the home prices up. The result was that the rental market skyrocketed for two major reasons. An interest rate hike that sidelined buyers from purchasing real estate and flooded the rental market. And secondly, the record of immigrants granted by Canada, who are also the second factor driving the rental market as newcomers have to rent a place to live. However, you will be surprised at the amount of newcomers that wanted to purchase since the rent price is so high, and it will be more logical to purchase it, and they could accommodate more people in a family, whereas looking at the rental market that was limiting the number of people by today's landlords. And guess what? Recently on March 27, we passed an amendment to the foreign ban policy that would enable more work permit holders to purchase a home to live in while working in Canada. Work permit holders are eligible if they have 180 days or more of validity remaining on their work permit or work authorization at the time of purchase, and they have not purchased more than one residential property. And this is simply another sign of a new group of buyers that are active in the current real estate market. We still have a major problem. We have a record low level of new listings, which means the inventory is too low to meet the demand from what I just shared. Currently, we have somewhat tamed the inflation to 5.2% in February, which is still far from the target of 2% by the end of the year. But certainly, we are no longer forecast to be higher, since I believe we have reached the peak when everything was locked down. Can we see the return of a higher interest rate, or do you think the rate could remain flat or even lower if the Canadian economy can sustain it? I'm curious what you think. Please leave your opinion in the description below, as I'm curious about your take. Wrapping things up, I hope to provide you with some insights on today's real estate market. If you like the video, don't forget to hit the like button and consider subscribing to the channel, as I do weekly videos, whether they be home tours videos or real estate market updates such as this. Anyway, I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.